XDefiant's been out in full force for over a week now, and with that time played, players have gotten a lot of experience in a various number of areas. But with time, you also learn more and more about things that maybe aren't working as intended. Today, we're going to be detailing a bit of changes coming in the next update for XDefiant, and a bit of the details behind those changes as confirmed by developers. As we go along, drop your thoughts down below. What change or fix would you like to see? If you enjoyed this video, you find it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And of course, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe for more XDefiant and other FPS coverage. We've got a Black Ops 6 reveal upcoming soon. We've got more XDefiant content and all kinds of other FPS content that if you're part of that 64% of viewers that are not subscribed, I'd love to have in the community. But anyways, let's take a look at what's upcoming for XDefiant's fixes and updates in the near future here. Firstly, probably the biggest one is adjustments to netcode and hitreg. Now, obviously, the netcode and hitreg in this game right now is less than ideal, to put it lightly. Some of that comes down to things that we can diagnose, like network variance, if your connection itself isn't the most stable, like if you're in a more rural area versus somewhere more densely populated, if you're in a more remote region of the world where there are less servers than elsewhere in the world. And then of course, there are also those things on the opposite side of the coin that are genuinely game side, that even if you were to pick up and move to the perfect location, your pick of servers, a plenty number of players that you can match with every single day, there would still be those things that game side are entirely out of your control still. For me, the biggest thing that I always end up seeing with that is like dying around walls. That's something that I've combated every single day since the launch of the game, and I'm sure that you have as well. Plus, things like actually just shots not registering or a various number of other things that you could think of. Now, these have been confirmed on numerous fronts that we're going to see improvements here and updates to this in the near future, but these are going to be gradual improvements. So even with the next update bringing along updates to this networking system, I don't expect it to end up like flipping a switch and just night and day difference be perfectly fine versus what it is now. That's just something that networking updates like that are never that black and white. They take more time to dial in, and as such, we're probably going to see not one, not two, maybe not even 3 updates, but we're going to continually see updates to make that netcode and hit detection better within the game as time progresses. But we are seemingly having targeted updates in the near future here for this. Next, another thing that is a big one is the jump shotting. The bunny hopping of XDefiant. It is one of the things that right now you're gonna see it if you play any sort of sweatier match. It's one of the best ways to combat and throw off enemy aim, but it's also not intended as we have it right now. Former COD Pro and dev now on XDefiant, Aches, ended up tweeting out a sort of explanation here for the status of this, where he said jump shotting and spamming behavior in general has since been deleted, but wanted to share this thread from last year's closed beta. We do intend to penalize players for too many repeated jumps and crouches by adding aim sway. This was disabled after tests while we made some needed improvements and unfortunately did not make it in time for launch, but rest assured we will get this as soon as possible. We absolutely want players to use all the mechanics in our game and not feel restricted, but there's a sweet spot between intended use and spam, and we want to get that right. Now, this was also something that was clarified after that it was because it didn't feel all that great in the beta. It didn't feel as intended, and so thus it just didn't make it into the game for launch here. And again, being a week and a half into the life cycle of XDefiant, we still have a lot up on deck, so I'm expecting this to come in the very near future here for this. Snipers are another big ticket item in terms of discussion because, well, it seems if you see that scope glint, if the player on the other side of that gunfight is any sort of decent shot, you're just not going to end up winning that, even if you end up landing a few shots on them before they take you out. That being something that seems to be a lack of flinch in regards to snipers that at the moment seems to be a possible bug, but also design choice that doesn't go as far as it should. It's been stated sniper flinch is also what we've talked about a lot. We've said that the flinch isn't working correctly and we need to fix that and then adjust the flinch on snipers. Right now, as in the upcoming updates and in regards to combating the sort of status of snipers right now, we are adding flinch so if you are taking hits, you can't just turn, point, and click and delete people. Should be in an upcoming patch. Now, this is something that is good news, I think, here. I find a lot of my deaths do come to snipers because of that, and it is one of those things that I often do question, like how did they hit that shot when I'm putting 5 to 10 shots into them? Now, this is an interesting territory and something that when it comes to just simply talking to a microphone and making YouTube videos, I surely don't envy any of the sort of design choices that need to go into actually making something of a balanced pass for this, because snipers obviously need to be good enough to use, but with no flinch, it's too powerful. So where does that balance come in? And at the same time, you're probably never going to please everyone. You're not going to find that perfect balance where snipers are still like, yeah, this is exactly what I love, and then the red gunners are just like, oh yeah, that's cool. That's probably never really going to happen. So that's something we'll see in an upcoming update here at this. One other thing that was interesting seems to be that we're going to have adjustments to the footstep audio of friendly and personal footstep audio, not enemy audio, toned down. This giving a bit more in terms of recognition if you're able to differentiate those two levels on if it's a friendly, yourself, or an enemy, which obviously can be very beneficial in a gunfight. So looking forward to seeing how those changes come into play. But beyond that, the other things that were mentioned in terms of changes that we know about that are like bigger items here at this is the booster countdown. As we've talked about right now, the in-game boosters for your battle pass or your double weapon XP tokens, those things do count down in real time. So that means that if you end up popping a 20-minute token, it's something that you are going to have to account for, that changeover time between matches, the loading time, the queuing into lobbies, all that kind of stuff will count down and credit against that token. Whereas honestly, that's not really that fair to the player. If it's a token that is 20 minutes, it should be used only the 20 minutes that you can actually interact with that. So something that only 20 minutes of game time, not 10 minutes between the match and queuing up into another lobby, but instead just 10 minutes of actually game time. That's how it should work, and that seems to be apparently how they're going to be, and it looks to be coming in Season 1 likely. So a little bit of time on that still, but at least we not only, one, have a general idea of when that's coming, we also know it's going to be coming. So I'm happy to hear that that is something that's being worked on. There are also a bunch of different bug fixes and general mentions like reload canceling, sprint movement bugs. That's something that's persisting right now. Escort spawns sometimes will start you at the very back of the map. There's an infinite grenade bug, camera shake from friendly grenades, frame drops on NVIDIA cards. A bunch of different things are being tracked and do have fixes in the works. Again, on the smaller side that maybe you never experienced that kind of stuff, which is obviously for the better, but maybe you did. So there's a bunch of stuff that is going to be coming on top of those bigger items as well. But that said, as for the timing of said updates, currently there's no real precedent that we can use to sort of predict when this will be happening, unless we're just simply looking at a Season 1 update. Like the difference with, say, COD, the current systems in place, we can almost guarantee that unless something is detrimental or literally breaks the game, we're likely only going to get title updates at a new season launch and a season reloaded update. Same things with the marketings of the new COD games as well, like 15 to 20 years of nearly identical reveal rollout, so much so that if I sat down, I could probably give you an accurate look at the reveals, updates, and launches of stuff, and give you estimations on when each of these things will happen within reason of an accuracy window of plus or minus 1 week. That's how regulated and standard these things are with games like COD. XDefiant being a new IP is kind of a wild card. We've never really had any major updates for the game because, well, this isn't a sequel. This is a brand new thing that it could come tomorrow, it could come in a week, it could be Season 1. But my only guarantee is talking Season 1, it seems like, is that most, maybe not all, but most of this stuff is going to be at least having a backstop of Season 1. That's the latest we'll probably see with it. I mean, that's when we're guaranteed to see an update of some kind, because that's when we'll see a bunch of content added into the game. For that, latest I'd say is July 2nd, that tentative launch day for Season 1, but frankly, I'd expect a lot of the stuff to also come earlier than that. NVIDIA fixes for graphics and frame performance, the infinite grenade bug, netcode and hit reg stuff that actually impacts the game performance, those things aren't necessarily on a regulated timetable. That's just simply get it out as fast as you can in a manner that is not going to break the game. Obviously, you can't just be like, hey, I'm going to push this fix out and not test it. You still need some time to test that and make sure that it doesn't break the game further, but it's not going to wait on a seasonal launch or something like that. So that said, that is what we're looking at here in regards to fixes and updates for XDefiant in the relatively near future. So that is what we're going to call it. Let me know your thoughts down below. Is there anything in particular you're hoping to see fixed or adjusted or added? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts. But if you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things XDefiant as we gear up for a bunch of stuff still upcoming, but then Season 1 in just about a month's time now at this point, where we'll see our first major update in terms of content. So make sure you guys subscribe for all that kind of stuff. I'd love to have you in the community, but for now, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.